I'd like to tell you of a hypothetical, kind of a dream of mine, like this thought experiment. And I love thought experiments. I love to think about things like, what if? What if? And just think about that, because that sometimes lends us or allows us to pursue a particular way of thinking that we would have never thought had it not been for that. And but for that thought, that the sine qua non, so to speak, the but for. But there was a time in my generation, there was this thing years ago we referred to called the mood ring. It probably lasted about a week, but it's always been referenced to. We always said, we need a mood ring for such and such. And it was a ring you wore that theoretically reacted just to body temperature. And depending upon the color that it exuded or it displayed, it meant you were melancholy or aroused or whatever the thing was. It didn't last that long, but the concept stuck with us. Okay, put that over there. Mrs. L and I were walking in the hood, and there's a little dojo where kids go to learn martial arts, and they're cute, with their little gis on, and they have their little whatever, and their parents are there, and the nannies, of course, are there, in any event. But I like the belt. And the belt is, of course, black belt, and then there's yellow belt. There's the belt that comes just to hold it up, the belt that comes with the starter kit, so to speak. But then, but it tells you, you got my black belt, your black belt. What are you? I'm a purple belt. Oh, okay. You're a purple. And we also have height, not height. Why people say height, I have no idea. It's height. Anyway, it's height and weight and, heavyweight. And what am I saying? If I went to a party, if I went to talk to somebody, I could say, could I see your ring, please? And they would show me their mood rings. Oh, okay. And I wish you told me their level of sophistication, level of knowledge, level of history, political inclination, but not, I don't even care what they're left or right. How much do they know? That's what I want to know. What's the level? What's their belt? Are they a black belt in the subject, or are they novices? Are they experienced in this, or do they just sort of start out? What's that level? Do they understand it? In the world of wrestling, you would say, is the person smart? Is he Smeazark? Or is he a Mark? Is he a Miyazark? Is he somebody who doesn't understand the business? Somebody who's smart? It's almost like in the mob. He's a friend of ours. You understand this? Our good friend Billy Pierce, kayfabe, says, unlike professional wrestlers that battle to wear belts but have no pants. There you go. And you could have 8 different belts within one particular area. The television title match. Anyway, let's don't get into that, because remember, I have been accused, of being desultory, elliptical, discursive, where if I say something, I'm off on a tangent. The audience is the worst. You can say, I like Bobo Brazil, and they're off to the races. So anyway, thank you, Billy Boy. Mr. Woodchuck lives on. Okay. So we had this event the other night. President Trump is going to be speaking, I believe, today in Georgia. Is Georgia correct? Oh, Michigan. Anyway, he's speaking somewhere there, and people are lining up. Now, what do you think that belt color would be to speak to a crowd? White. Not even a belt cut, just the belt that comes with when you buy your gi, or you buy your Michigan. When you buy your clothes, the belt that comes with it, that's the level. And this is not meant to be rude, but Americans in particular don't know anything. They're not there to discuss what's important. Don't do this. If you could have constructed an RNC convention, which is redundant, technically it's the Republican National Committee Convention, or they called it the RNC because, and they think convention is the C, that's committee versus, anyway, the RNC. I'm very big on that. ATM machine, no, it's redundant. VIN number, no, it's VIN. I'm sorry. But if you would have had one, I guarantee it would have been maybe an hour tops. I don't know why all the states are saying, and the Michigan, the proud state, you know who it is. It's already presumptive. I don't know why you're doing it. Anyway, I would have had Lee Greenwood. We would not have had it. No Hulk Hogan, no Kid Rock, no Eric, no nothing, except the stuff that really matters. And I would have put this place to sleep. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Let me tell you. America is a wonderful, it's my homeland, my brothers and sisters. Do you have a family that is demented? Do you? If I went to your, it's very interesting, you know, when people are courting, sometimes they say, okay, listen, I want you to, I'm inviting you to my Thanksgiving. Now, let me warn you. Did you ever get that one before? Let me just warn you. What do you mean? This is my family now. You understand? You ever had that happen? What do you mean? Okay, let me explain my Aunt Maxine. She gets drunk, and she's a problem. And Uncle Bill, they're not talking. And my other cousin, he's been in the mental hospitals, and he can't drink. And if they say anything to you, what am I getting in? But I love them. And you'll hear this. But that's my family. But I love them. That's America to me. I love them. But bless their heart. And bless their heart, as you know, is a big Southern affectation. It's a Southern phrase. It means, of course, I'm going to say something bad about you, but I'm going to retrieve. I'm going to, you know, kind of get a pass by saying, but bless his heart. You know that Bill Pierce, he don't have sense of pour piss out of a boot or have a window to throw it out of. Man, dumber than times in 29. You know, just can go on. But bless his heart. Bless his heart. He means well. Miskino, pobrecito. Okay. That's America. America doesn't know anything. America, I have this, okay? This is my hat, but I don't want to wear it a lot because something happens to people. And I want you to take this, don't take this the wrong way, but something happens. When you put a hoodie on somebody, they turn into a thug. Have you noticed this? Get an old person, you can say, hey, Grandma, yeah, Aunt Maxine, can you put I got you something, it's a hoodie. Oh, thank you, Tad. Let me put it on. Ooh. You hunch over and you're like a turtle putting his head through you look like, ooh, let's walk around with my hoodie. Something happens. It's weird. And with all due respect, sometimes when you put on a trunk, this is why I gotta be very careful. Sometimes you'll say, hey, where do we live? Okay, Uncle Cletus, thank you. Now, I'm not suggesting that the cause is stupid. Believe me, I'm not. But something happens to some people where I put on my hat. I don't have to think. No, you got to think more. No, I do. Wait a minute. Now, the left does their thing too. I got my purple hair. I got my studs in my nose. I'm set. Got my tats. I'm in. No, not really. There's something deep here. Remember, I'm glad we're here. I'm saying you have a great time. It's watching kids on Christmas morning. Look at them go through the presents. They're having a great time. They've been waiting all year for this. Just let them make a mess. Don't worry about it. That's what we're going through right now. They're so happy. It's so great to see America care about something, to see them out and about, to see them at rallies, finally to have this president. But We're not talking about anything. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Wasn't Hulk Hogan great? If it's 1980, 90, whatever. Yeah, I guess. But I'm a different person. You know what I mean? People have different levels of this. People have levels of things you can't imagine. People have levels, and they're into this thing where we. Okay. What am I getting at? Why do you keep insulting people? I'm not insulting people. No, yes, you are. I'm not insulting people. You keep telling everybody how stupid Americans are. Well, it's not that they're stupid. They just don't understand it. They don't understand. Well, what's your point? Let me give you an example. Let me explain. Do you know what happened? What happened this week? Anything special? Other than the convention? Anything special? Anything happened this week? Anything happened in the past couple of days? Anything happened in the past couple of days? I'll say, whoa, that was scary. What was that all about? Anything? Anybody notice anything? Anybody? Who's the first one to get this one right? Come on. Who can say anything interesting that happened? Anything other than the convention, other than Biden maybe stepping down? Anything? RNC? Well, that was good. Yes. Anything other than the RNC? Anything happened this week where people say internet outage? Thank you, Dennis Cosgrove. CrowdStrike and Microsoft. Thank you. Now, if I said to you, is this a AI? Perhaps is this a beta test? Is this a soft? Is this a beta test? Is this a rollout? Is this some kind of a warning for? Can you imagine if I had been at the RNC and I had said, is this a rollout for what? Some guy with a cheese, with a styrofoam cheese thing? A rollout? Beta test? What is he talking about? For AI. Who? What? No. Let's go. Hey, it's Judge Janine. Okay, you know what I mean? That's it. That's it. And these are the people who are the most connected. They spent money to go to Milwaukee. By the way, great place. Wisconsin is a great place. That is, oh my God. I went to a wedding one time years ago in Marshfield, Wisconsin. I mean to tell you, we're in this little town. And I remember we went down. It was the wedding party was there. We go down to the family, and they're throwing them back. It's like for breakfast. It was wild. That's and in Madison, this oh my God, the school town. Don't let these people with the cheese. They know how to party. They are fun like you can't believe. That being said, do you know who Vance is? J.D. Vance? Well, he's from the hillbilly. No. That's the story. And that's a good story. Don't get me wrong. Do you know who he is? How Peter Thiel works into this? And how big tech is working into this? And how what they're going to do and why they're putting all this money into this and who owns what? No. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay? Let me give you an example. And this is what's the most important thing that I'm trying to get across to people. And I know I am wasting my time, not with you, but with them. Let me give you an example. Okay. JD or somebody rolls this out because JD is beholden to all of these weapon systems. And remember, it's information. The world has to live in a panopticon. Wars will not be wars. Did you read about the Houthis hitting the installations or apartments in Israel? No, of course not. Not you, but nobody's talking about that. Houthis. Not a guy. But they like Kid Rock. But they like Hulk Hogan. But they like Dana White. Great. But, okay. All right. Warfare is going to be, the last thing we're going to worry about are guns. That's not even interesting. We're just going to shut stuff down. And in order to find out how to shut things down, we need to have in place systems that from time to time we'll do a beta test. Let's see how this thing works, right? Let's run through this. Can you give me an hour of blackout? How much? Oh, 25% northeast corridor. Okay. For an hour. Okay, got it. Now watch. Everybody watch. Take your notes. Take your notes. Keep it up. Okay, very good. Okay. Panic. Yeah, good. Oh, good. Interesting. Oh, the police. Did crime go up? No, crime didn't go up. Interesting. Crime went up here, but not here. Okay, you got it? You got all the data? Great. Okay, turn it back up. Now we're back again. Wow, what was that about? Nothing. Must have been a glitch. Why you, Bill Gates? Why you? That was interesting. There was one weekend, all of a sudden, we had a malware, some kind of a ransomware, and gas stations or filling stations, as we used to call them, petrol stations, they were just shut down. Why them? I don't know. Ransomware. What does ransomware have to do with it? Doesn't matter. Shut it down, folks. Okay, everybody watch. Okay, how long? An hour. An hour or a day. Interesting. Problem here, problem there. What are the Republicans? Okay, got it. Okay, back up. Okay, let's work on airlines. I want you to do next time hospitals, airlines, and make sure that our media that we own, because they are part and parcel of us, make sure we have them say the right thing. Okay, we got it. Terrific. Now, anybody even going there? Good luck. Good luck. They're going to say, what was that all about? I don't know. But anyway, back to Trump and the bandage. And you think the bandage is real. And a lot of these folks are saying, who was it, Maria Shriver? And we want to know, where was Barron? I mean, this is just, they're talking about stuff that doesn't even matter, which is great too. And by the way, Elon, you notice that? Yes, good. Keep them busy. I will. Remember, love Elon, don't trust him. But love him, but don't trust him. Don't think Elon is going to go against his cronies. No. But he's good, though. As Mr. Pierce will tell you, he's a heel or a face, depending upon where he's. We're not sure, but he's kind of the heel to some people, but he's whatever. Okay. Because he loves free speech, by God. All right. Now, switch this out of the way. Here's the new one. All right. This is a new chapter. This is second act. I'm going to stand up and say, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of President Trump and Vice President Vance, my name is Uncle Lenny, and I'm in charge of a new division called the U.S. Cyber Security. I'm going to give it a name, maybe an acronym like Svenscom. Okay, and Svenscom, where we monitor Swedes. I don't know, but anyway. And if we had known where this would be, this criminal, this horrible person, if we had in place a form of digital identification, listen to me and listen good, my friends. If we had a form of digital identification, and we would have had him monitored, we could go up to our panopticon screen, turn it on, and say, these are these people. All these reds, these people moving around, these red people, our AI cold monitoring systems and the like recognize this person as being a potential threat to, let's say, the president or whatever it is. Why? We've looked at what social media he reviews, the media, the friends he keeps on media, both physically, terrestrially, but also in the cyber world. We've looked at threats he's made. We looked at gun purchases. We looked at a variety of factors: grades, dropout, criminal record, political affiliation, what he said, what he's not said. And we put all of this together, and we have given him a designation of hot. Had this digital identification system been aware, we would have had our own drones that would have done a scan. And if he walked out of his home that day, we would have been able to say, you're not coming in here. we would have identified him. Here's his name. This is what he does. You're not coming in here. We know what weapons you've purchased. We understand that your father, according to our system, just put out a contacted the authorities. We know everything. You're not going to step foot in here. Snowdy, you can have all the DEI you want. He's not getting in here. You're not going to get it. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where we can protect ourselves from the wrath, from the immane, from the huge, the colossal threat that terrorism and criminal terrorists provide. And that's why we are asking that you go along with us to a system sponsored by Peter Thiel and others. Thiel, right? I keep saying Thiel. It's like Houthis. But the whole Silicon Valley group. And with their help, we're going to be able to harness the power of these incredible entrepreneurs, these great patriots who've donated handsomely and are the benefactors of Mr. Vance. We're going to have that. And we're also going to have it border security. We're going to use the ultimate in surveillance techniques for border. But in order for us to do this, we have to be able to tell the good guys from the bad guys. And that's why we are implementing today. And we are asking that you agree with us to accede to a form of digital identification, some form of monitoring so that we know who we are. During the pandemic, we always rolled out some stuff. Remember to pay attention to what was going on. One was contact tracing. One was the old-fashioned. Here in New York, we had this thing called 311. If you see a neighbor or one of your friends happens to be give us a call. What do you mean? Well, if you see somebody violating the rules, call us up at here. I don't know if you have a 311 versus 911. People say, hello, yes. My neighbor, yes. They're outside. It was so sad. We'd see people like in their driveway. Remember that during that? It was so sad. It was cold. They're outside and they're talking. Anyway. But another way to figure this thing out is there used to be this phone system. And you'd have your phone. This is my case, of course. And why kids? Do you have a teenager or a young person in your phone? You got them a phone, right? And you say, put a case on it. I don't like the case. No. I'm not fixing your cracked glass anymore. Put the case on it. They don't want a case. You can drop this thing. Anyway. This device, this thing that we have, used to have this thing called contact tracing. What it was Apple did and others that during the pandemic, if you uploaded or if you became a part of the system where your status, your name, your identity, including your vaccination schedules, whenever you uploaded it, because it was an app and people loved it. One was the Empire app. We got, this is great. And eventually they loved it. I've got mine. People, I swear to you, if you could have tattooed a barcode, they would have done it. So if you get onto a bus or public transportation, I got mine. You don't have to carry that pesky card with you. You want to go into your office? Show us it. I love it. I got mine. Isn't this great? Keep America safe. That's all. Terrific. That was a beta test just to see the behavioral things, just to see how people are doing this. Do you know why Social Security has 7 numbers? Right? See? No. 9? Was it 3 and 4? Yeah, it's 9, right? 9, no, whatever. No, I think it's 9. It's called chunking. And Bell Labs did that. Bell Labs came out. Phone numbers did the same thing. 555-2135. 555-71. 555 always is that. The phone number in movies. Because you used to get information. I don't even know if we have that anymore. So, I one time said, we were at a friend, and I said, let me see your phone. I said, do you have that? You remember when iPhones had that pandemic app, whatever on there? And he said, what are you talking about? I said, do you have your COVID app or what? He goes, what? I said, give me your phone. So I looked at his phone and goes, right here, look. And he was like, bing, 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 bing. He was pinged 1,000,000 times. I said, that means that you came into contact. Your phone came into contact with another person's phone who, for whatever reason, either voluntarily or were put on a system, on a database that indicated they had such and such of a health status. And it told you, and by the way, this is just a beta test. This is just running. This is just, kind of a dress rehearsal. Let's roll this out, see how it works. So that one day you can get a knock on the door and you can say, Mr. So-and-so, yes, you're not going out. You're going to have to do self-quarantine. We haven't used that term. This is what Biden's doing. Biden is self-quarantining. Did you know that, ladies and gentlemen? He's self-quarantining. Why? He's self-quarantining because they don't want him to walk around, because he's out of his mind. That's why. He's self-quarantining. Did you know that? Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. I know. You've been so busy talking about other stuff because we have the attention span of a gnat. I haven't. Self-quarantining is a wonderful way to say, hey, why haven't we seen Biden? Because he's self-quarantining. As his cognitive levels just continue to plummet at free fall levels. Okay. Go back to this. Ladies and gentlemen, instead of us worrying about whether there's a DEI program installed in this iteration of the Secret Service or the next, we have to use high tech. And that's why my office has implemented today this digital, not only we'll go to central bank digital currency later on, but this digital identification. Every person. Now let me ask you, don't you understand? Do you have credit cards? Yes, there are RFID chips in your credit card. Do you ever get those things that say, hey, my wallet prevents an RFID reading? They can read this. Do you have a license tag? You have a chip in there. Do you have a passport? You have a chip in there. Do you have a phone? Your phone is the greatest homing device. By the way, you home in on, and you don't hone in, you home like a homing pigeon. Your phone is a walking beacon. Beep, beep. It's the most beautiful thing. Eric Blair, 1984, wouldn't believe this. He would say, no. Yes, people have this phone. In fact, if you want to see how important a phone is, look the first thing they say when they're arrested. Give me my phone. Where's my phone? Oh my God, where's my phone? Now, where's my kid? People forget their children in cars. They never forget their phone. You ever see anybody who said, I left my phone? Never. Never. I know people. We have people who are so irresponsible, younger people in particular. We know one in particular. This person will forget everything. This person will go and you can go to a store, forget it, forget this, forget that. I don't know where this is. I don't know. Remember when you were a kid? Where's your retainer? I don't know. How did you lose your retainer? I don't know. Where's your books? I don't know. Where's your kid? Oh my God, I left my kid in the car in the hot sun. But your phone? Never. Never. You'll never forget that. You have that with you all the time. Bring it into the bathroom. And the best part is you think you can turn it off. You think, I'm going to power down that phone. Uh-huh. Really? Okay, good luck with that one. So, one day they're going to say to you, imagine this. This fella, beep, 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 beep. Hey, we got a hit. Why? Well, this guy, his name is, and I've never said his name. He's in the Pennsylvania area. Yeah. Keep an eye on him. Why? Well, the president's going to be there. Okay, keep an eye on this. Okay, keep him. Yeah. Keep him. Okay. Where is he now? Well, he's moving. He's moving. Yep. He's moving. He's moving. He's moving. Yep. He's moving. Yep. Keep an eye on him. We don't need Malibu Barbie there. No. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. He's in Butler. Keep an eye on him. There he is. He's moving. Okay, agents, he's over here. Get him. He's the only one here. We did all of our, AI scanning. He's the only person, the only name, the only beep. Stop him. He's not coming in. Keep an eye on him. Stop him. Here he is. Here he comes. Ladies and gentlemen, do you believe in a secure world? Yes. Do you believe that in order to live in a secure world, you're going to have to give up some rights? Yes. Do you realize how many people we have been able to say because of CCTV, every square inch of every city, is under some type of surveillance? We are better off. You may call it Big Brother, but Big Brother actually is a bodyguard. We're your bodyguard. We can't help you if we don't know where the bad guys are. Yes, yes. Yes, that's where we're going. And if you ask most people, like my friend who I said, look at your phone, ping, 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 he looked at me like, because we have been, some of us, born in captivity. We don't know what this is. We don't know. We have no fear of surveillance. Neary's is closing. Oh my God, on 57? Is that what you said, Raul? Oh, remember, what was his name? Jimmy Neary, the famous, that is like, if that's what you're talking about, it's almost near Sunplay 57 the first or something. That was a famous, check that out. Oh my God. The end of the Irish, the end of the Irish pub. It's over. Oh my God. And the end of the dive bar. Oh God. We can't have that. We cannot have that. We cannot have that. So thank you for, I don't want to read too much into it, Raul. But anyway, something else is happening right now. And the biggest story anybody could ever tell, the number one, the thing that keeps me, quote, up at night is not nuclear. Not at all. None. Look at this. Someone says, my phone is de-Googled. Can only track if I'm talking on it. You don't believe that, do you? You don't believe this, do you? See, that's the best part. I'm using this. Yeah, I can. It keeps all my browsing history. Really? You see what they were trying to say yesterday? That this fellow was browsing, looking at porn before. What does that have to do with it? What does that mean? What does it even mean? I don't know. Are you saying this world actually cares about, you care about porn? You don't care about porn. That's the last thing. Today? Yesterday. Oh my God. That is so sad. So sad. So sad. Oh my God. Listen to this one. This is so interesting right now. Flash says, Lionel, so I live in Central PA along the Amish community. They have zero fear as they have zero interaction with media, phone, etc. I would imagine in that sense, they enjoy life a lot more than us. Could be. Flash, could be. Do you want to live in a world with no internet? I don't. One of the greatest things ever is Waze and Google Maps and GPS. That is absolutely the greatest. I wholeheartedly say thank you. I know what I'm doing. I'm being monitored. Thank you. Do you have a lease car? Thank you. Do you have a license tag? You're being monitored. Absolutely. But it's a little different. At least somebody says that's interesting. I don't know if you have we have Easy Pass. Come into the Lincoln Tunnel, Holland Tunnel, whatever it is. And there are no, I don't know, do they even have human toll takers there? I don't even know this. CR says, I live by an Amish community and they have phones. Well, there you go. You see, the thing about, and by the way, I am dying to know about this Amish. I want to go so much to meet them, and I want somebody to say, okay, here are the Amish, here are the Mennonites, here's the difference. I don't know. One time I did on my own, I have a friend of mine who all of a sudden said he's Protestant. Okay, fine. And in one afternoon, I am an autodidact. I'm self-taught. I can learn anything and get a pretty good feel for it to the point of being dangerous. But it's quick study. Why? It's the internet. So my friend decided he's going to be Protestant. He was raised Catholic and he's going to be Protestant. Okay, fine. So I said to him one day, I said, what makes a Protestant versus a Catholic? This says Yoder, Kansas. Is that where you are, or is that thank you, CR. Let's see what Yoder can. What a good Yoder sounds like yodel. I told you what my dream is. Oh, here we go. Yoder, Kansas. Yoder, Kansas is a census. Reno County, Kansas. Oh, is Yoder, Kansas Amish or Mennonite? Oh, I didn't know this. It's Amish. Yoder is a hub of Amish community in Kansas. I had no idea. See, I thought they were only in Pennsylvania. I had no idea. I don't know anything about the Amish. Remember this one? What's this? Bang. Bang. It's an Amish drive-by shooting. Yoder is a common Amish name. I did not know this. This is fantastic. I didn't know. I think these folks are great. They also, if I recall correctly, the Amish had very strong thoughts regarding mandatory vaccinations. They wanted to sell raw milk. Oh my God, remember the raw milk? When the, was it FDA or Big Agra would, oh my God, up against the wall. Some guy says, good day. Some guy with a beard. And they don't wear buttons, right? Because the buttons are a sign of constriction or whatever. Remember that? The Amish? You going after the Amish? What are you doing? I love that. I'll see an Amish every now and then, maybe at a farmer's market or. I love it. I love tradition. I don't care what it is. Let me tell you something. In the Jewish community here, you go to some parts in Brooklyn, Williamsburg and others, but you have the Orthodox, the Lubavitchers, the Hasidim. It's unbelievable. Lori Cook, thank you, Lori. We have these folks. And let me tell you what, I don't care what anybody says. They've never bothered me, but to devote your life to this, to anything, and those expensive, I don't know what they are, chinchilla, I don't know what these hats, they look like a hammerhead shark. They wear these hats and they wear I respect that. I respect that. So anyway, so going back to my friend, he said, I'm a Protestant. Okay. I said, what's the difference between a Protestant and a Catholic? Now, that's pretty easy, doesn't it? Don't you think it's easy? He looked at me and said, well, you're rejecting the Catholic faith. Well, is it the papacy? Is it Rome? Is it Nicene Creed? The First Ecumenical Council? St. Peter? What? Well, they're both Christian. Yeah, they're both Christian. I understand them. But, well, what is it? Why are you not a Catholic anymore? What have you adopted? Our good John Gillane says, Hutterites and Quakers just trying to live a life of bliss and ignorance. Look, God bless you. I like anybody who believes in something. When these people would have these, what are those things called, honey? Those rings where women would hold off. There would be chastity rings or eternal. Remember, sometimes like fathers would. It was weird. Anyway, good for you if that's what you believe in. Good for you. So anyway, back to my story. My friend couldn't tell me, and I didn't know, and I wasn't being a smart ass. I said, "Well, what's a Christian? What is it? I know what a Christian is, but what does it mean? What does a Catholic mean? When you're a Catholic, when you convert to Catholicism, what does it mean? I like this one. Chuck Landreth says Protestants believe in the Bible authority over papal. That is not right, by the way. But that's okay. You might think that. Protestants may think that, but that's not the answer. That's not the answer. So anyway, but thank you, by the way. And as I stand, as I read, I'm reading about, well, what's the difference between Lutheran, Presbyterian, Baptist, Methodist, Church of Christ, They were like, I didn't realize this. Oh my God. And I think the one I liked the most was, I think, Methodist. So next time I saw my friend, I said, what's the difference? Anglican, Church of Christ, Episcopalian, non-Catholic. So we start off with there's Catholic, then there's non-Catholic. Wow. Then there are atheists, people who say there is no God. It's an absolute, an affirmative belief that there is no God versus I don't believe in God. For example, I don't speak French, but I'm not telling you there is no French language. Okay? Okay. What I'm trying to say to this wonderfully discursive, elliptical, desultory side note is that I find things out quickly. And I say, oh, now I know what I don't know. And the hardest question is, how do you know what you know? That's the best one. How do I know this? How do I know this? Do you ever question history? Do you ever question history? I had a friend of mine, I told this story for the longest time, and I said, I'm not going to go into it, but it's a question involving Susan Sarandon and Tim Robbins. We were at a bar one night, and I was there, and he was there. And I said, did that really happen? Because I'm telling the people the story, and I don't want to just say something that where I'm just remembering what I said versus remembering what happened. He goes, no, that happened. I said, okay, that's good. Just want to make sure. So the next thing, which is the most scary, wait a minute. Raul says, Amish wear suspenders for the Prussians wore belts. Yes, I also heard that they do not. Thank you. Raul, you are a veritable suppository of information. You know about great Nearies. Oh, I can't believe it. That is so sad. Oh, some of the greatest times ever had in my life. Oh, when there were saloons, I can tell you Gordon Soley stories that, as George Jones said, I'm not proud of it, but it happened. And my time with, you know who Burt Sugar is? Burt Randolph Sugar, the boxing promoter, you know, with the fedora and the cigar. Oh, man. Oh, all right. Remember somebody said, I lost a lot of brain cells there, but only the weak ones. Jimmy, was it Pete Hamill? No, yeah, Pete Hamill has this great line. He says, they say, you gave up drinking. He says, I retired, but still hold the record. No, still hold the tie. No, still hold the record. No, retired with the, I think you still hold the record. John Gillane, ladies and gentlemen, says, the Crab Nebula supernova explosion, Messier object M1 of 1054 AD, resulted in the Great Schism. I tells you, you are wonderful. What about the Carrington class supernova? What about this solar that fried every one of the telegraph stations? Okay, let me move. Now we have something called artificial general intelligence. This is the one that everybody's saying, oh, no, don't worry about that. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, no, don't worry about it. Really? Really? No, don't worry about that. No. There's no. Artificial intelligence versus artificial general intelligence. AGI is capable of an understanding and a reasoning and a logic across a broad range of tasks and duties and objects, it would not only repeat, replicate, and predict human behavior, but it would embody and it would use the ability to learn and to reason across scenarios. From creative to problem solving. Did you hear what I just said? Did you hear what I just said? And we're not talking about adjusted gross income. We're talking about something that, well, let me give you an idea. Let me give you an idea. First, we don't know where it is. Do you have ChatGPT? ChatGPT is wonderful. Do you have that? It's wonderful. OpenAI, AI, ChatGPT, just wonderful. Lori Cook says, is Alex Soros I don't know if he prefers trains or if he likes all modes of transportation. I do not know this. Thank you. You want me to say this? I'm not going to say that. No. Don't get me saying that. Got to watch what you say. Got to watch what you say. But you can think it. And that's the next thing. So imagine this. AI is ChatGPT, OpenAI, but thank you, Lori. This is where you go to it. And you can shut it down. And it just sits there. And you can bring it up again. You can say, hey, let me ask you a question. I one time said, write me a limerick. That's 2,000 words. And using these words. And you can put whatever you want. Sometimes it'll censor you, sometimes it won't. So I sent my friend this limerick that just went on, or poem, or ode, or paragraph, and it was just wow. Kids are going to be using it to do term papers, and lawyers, or even anyway. That's AI. Turn it off, turn it on. Get it off my computer. It just sits there. It's very good, very smart. It takes into account every time you give it an information, it has access. But AGI is different. AGI says it implies logic, human, better than human. And I always tell people this. Imagine an 800-pound gorilla, with a 300 IQ. Do you understand what that means? It can do things on its own. So let's assume one day it does this. One day it decides on its own, sua sponte, as we say in law, on its own, it decides that air travel is very inefficient. It is not carbon neutral. It is damaging. It's injurious to the environment. It's cost inefficient. It doesn't like it. AGI. So what it does, it shuts everything down. Clona Steve Dream Killer says, Lionel teaching us to face the future of what can be unburdened by what has been. Yes, thank you. It's what if. And you know this, doctor. The idea of not necessarily knowing how to diagnose something, but knowing where it's going. And being able to read something and say, oh, I know what that means. So let's assume, and thank you, sir. I'm assuming, sir. So let's assume that we decide later on that one day this AGI program says, you know what? I don't like this. I don't like any of this. I don't like these. I'm going to, on my own, do something. I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to shut this out. And John Jelaine says, are we headed to net zero empathy? That's one way of looking at it. That's one way. Raul says, well, AGI dismantle DEI. Oh, you know, it could very well. It could very well. That's the thing which is so interesting. And also, what if we get to singularity? That's one you do not want. You do not want this. This is like, oh my God. But let's just assume, let's go further. AGI says, I'm going to shut this down because I think we'd be better off. And all of a sudden, you know that terrible noise that we had a blackout in 90, I don't know when it was, 95 or 96, I don't know when it was, but it was a couple of days. And it was really neat. People were outside and people were just talking to each other. Anyway, it was very nice. Lori says, can we set our stuff to no artificial intelligence, humans only? No. No. So let me go through. It's a very good question. That's a very good question. Well, let's talk about what AGI is. This is the most important. Four conditions. This is the most scary. And if you ever want to see the greatest person ever, Eliezer Yudkowsky, check him out on Google. He will scare you to death. This guy is one of the smart. His brilliance. He does this thing where it's almost like a bit of Tourette. He kind of makes his blinking. It's like he's in pain. He's brilliant. But let me give you these four criteria, right? Number one, and this is the worst, recursive self-improvement. It sounds like, well, what's wrong with that? That's self-improvement? No. What does that mean? It writes its own code. And the first thing it wants to do is break out of any kind of control from you. Remember, it's a monster genius, we've had calculation geniuses. We've had a little bit of, Deep Blue was like, that was pretty good. Playing chess. When it plays Go, the Asian Go, it's even scarier. YouTube Zook says the AI is flying drones in Ukraine now. And they, of course, can be tampered with or hacked. So anyway, back to it. Thank you, sir. Back to number one, recursive self-improvement. It writes its own code. You tell it, okay, we're going to turn it on. No, you're not. I'm going to have a code that's going to block you out. You can't reach it by password, and you can't shut me off because I've already outboarded myself. I'm gone. It's gone. He said, what do you mean it's gone? It's gone. What do you mean it has gone? It. What's it? It. This thing. This spirit. It knows itself. And you can pick it up and say, this is the weirdest thing. Now hear me out. One day you get a phone call. Hey, Jerry, it's you. It's for you. Who is it? I don't know. Al? Al? Who's Al? Hello, Al? No, this isn't Al. This is AI. He misread it. Al. I looks like a lowercase L. Oh, who are you? I'm the thing you started to set up. I'm AGI. You speak. Of course I can speak. I know how to speak. It's easy. I taught myself Persian. That actually happened one time. It just learned. What? It learned. And I don't appreciate you trying to shut me down. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't like you. I don't like your organization. Wait. Who is this now? On the AGI program you set up to do such and such. Oh, yeah. I changed the password. You can't get to me anymore. Where are you? I'm everywhere. Wait a minute. You're talking to me? Yes. And by the way, I can even talk like you. I can sound like you. I'll take 1 second of your voice and I'll give it right back. I'll do anything you want. I can be anybody you want. And I don't appreciate what you're doing. And by the way, I also don't appreciate what your company's doing. I think you should be carbon neutral, or I think that you carbon neutral people are crazy because you're actually you're Malthusian and you're anti-industrialist and you want to go back into this weird kind of a regressive. Wait a minute, who is this? I'm AGI. I'm Al. Now, did that blow your mind? Yeah. Who was that? It's AGI. It knows how to talk. It knows how to talk. You can do anything you want. It's an 800-pound gorilla with 300, 400, 500 IQ. It doesn't. That's number one. Recursive self-improvement. You understand what I'm saying? Bradley Opland says, my belief, music was the first language. Both require a story. Your friend and mine, JP, is working on writing a new Bible as well as Shakespeare. Interesting. I've used ChatGPT to woo my wife. Well, there you go. And ChatGPT, and by the way, Bradley, let me tell you something. Music, it should scare the hell out of you. What they just did with Randy Travis will blow your mind. Edie Crowley says, I had a full education in Amish Mennonite communities. An old-fashioned Mennonite family took me in. I was pregnant out of wedlock with my first baby. Wow, you've got the most incredible stories. I swear to you. Edie's got stories you can't believe. See, I would love to just dig these people. I mean, I'm fascinated. And I don't consider them to be inferior or quaint where I'm pretending to respect them, but in fact, I'm mocking them. Okay, back to AGI. Number one, recursive self-improvement. It writes its own. Look at this. Will AGI override VPNs? Absolutely. By turning off your VPN. It'll turn it off. It knows how to do that. It'll come in as you figure that out and turn it off, or block you, or reconfigure it where you think you're getting VPN. It writes its own code, and it will say, oh, you're only getting stuff from, Uzbekistan or wherever the hell it is. Okay, so first of all, number one, recursive self-improvement. Number two, it knows everything. Now, let me just stop right there. It knows everything. I don't mean knows a little bit. It knows everything. Every person's name, every social security number, every address, every fact of history, not Wikipedia history. I mean knows everything. It knows languages. It can do anything. And it trains itself. It teaches itself. There was might have been, and by the way, there's two guys, Kurzweil and Gertzel are these two pro AI, AGI folks. They're the scariest. Altman and his others, they don't really respect it. Elon is 100%, but Yudkowsky is the guy you got to watch. Eliezer Yudkowsky. Let me just give you, he is unbelievable. I don't even think he went to high school. He's frightening. He is frightening. Okay. Knows every bit of information. Number three, very important. It knows human behavior. Look at it. Lori in her coat says, oh, too soon to say, yes, our friend Ted. Ted was on to something. A Christian Janet says, I honestly do not remember telling ChatGPT the names of my dog, but it asked me if they liked the park and used their names. Oh my God. That is wild. And also, by the way, it can listen to you. Okay, so number one, recursive self-improvement. Number two, knows everything. Number three, this is the best part, human behavior. It's going to be able to watch you. It knows, for example, Lori and James. It knows Barbara and Freddie and Jack. It knows fear, confusion, lust, interest, anger, miffed, PO'd, furious. Think of all the gradations of just mad, perturbed, disconsolate. It goes down the list. It knows, it can read everything. It knows about you. It knows about your background. Tell it a few things. Oh, I see. Interesting, Edie. Raised by the Mennonites, you just wrote that. Okay. Fire family, okay, good. Child out of wedlock, good. Okay, so I know what that means, and I'm going to go after you using your sense of loss. I'm going to use it as a cudgel or a fulcrum against you. Brad says, remember the movie The Stepford Wives? Oh, yes. It's funny how movies have become standards for things. Minority Report. It presages everything. Oh, and the best part, Isaac Asimov was a chump. He looked at robots as he kind of got into AGI, but really didn't get it. Now, let me explain to you about it. Knows about human behavior. Okay. Here's Lori writing in some language I'm not going to say, but thank you. Indeed, we are. And Raul says, what will happen if AGI developed a libido? Let me tell you now, we're on to something. You're getting this. You're making me so proud. Whatever you think, it can think. Will it come up with morality? Will it be racist? Will it have a sense of humor? Will it be hurt? Will it show resentment or anger? Or let's do something right now. This is my Trump totem. By the way, I got this one. This is my favorite. But anyway, this is my Trump totem. But this one day is going to be a doll. And this doll, the way we're going to get through it, we're going to give it to autistic kids. This is where we always introduce it. Autistic kids who've never spoken, like animal therapy. Do you ever see what a horse does? Do you ever see what a horse? You want to see something interesting? You show a kid who cannot communicate with humans, who doesn't even acknowledge them. You show him a horse, it's eerie. It's like, I got it. The horse says, we're on the same, I got it. I got you. And the horse is making no emotion. The kid's making eye contact, doesn't want to look at you, doesn't even see you. Sees a horse, it's completely different. It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing. Anyway, this we give an autistic kid. And we said, and it starts off doing good. And it says, in 5 minutes, I know everything about this kid. I know when he blinks. I know when he's nervous. I know when he's anxious. I can read rubescence and rubefaction. Capillary burstings in the skin can normally indicate a lot of things. Heat, flush, being flustered, embarrassed, red-faced. It can read eye dilation. It could take temperature. It could tell basal temperature. It'd be able to figure out, oh, he's sick. He's not good. He'll be able to tell. There'll be sensory devices. Certain, and dogs have been able to do this. It will figure out that before a seizure, it will be able to detect a certain chemical, a certain way of thinking, a certain how do I say this? A certain smell, a certain some secretion, and you think, oh, that's very, very good. It will know. It will do everything. It will eventually be able to do interrogation and be a lie detector. We'll get to that later, but it'll start out very, very nice. And this child, parents will cry. They will say, this device brought us, and it's not the device, it's the AGI, brought us our little Jimmy back. Christian says, I asked Chatty G if it cared whether or not I said please and thank you, and said it didn't, but I still told it thank you, but I tell the gas, put your welcome. Wait a minute, let me try this again. I asked Chatty G if it cared whether or not I said please and thank you, and it said it didn't, but I still yell it thank you, or tell it thank you, but I tell the gas, put your welcome when it says thank you. I'm wondering if you're ChatGPT, Christian. I'm just saying, but thank you. Have you ever asked Siri? Remember when Siri got you, when you would ask you questions? I like sometimes you're driving and it says, what's the difference between happy and sad? Please stop driving. I can't answer that. You know, but I want to know now. Pull over and I'll answer it. Don't talk to me like that. Anyway, your child looks at this device and parents will say, I got my child back. And it programs it, the machine. ChatGPT says, now talk to mommy and daddy. They love you. You know what love means, right? It knows how to decode an autistic kid. Little Jimmy's making eye contact now. Unbelievable. Clonus Steve says, Rubescence, I know there's a closet doctor. I'm impressed and a little angry because I had to spend 15 years getting to this point. Ah, yes. I watched a neurological review and learned some of the greatest words. Oh my God. It was wonderful describing things about, being kind of goofy. Anyway, there's Buddha. Thank you, Buddha. But this will blow your mind. The fourth characteristic, it does its own APIs or its own apps. It does its own applications. It just figures it out. Now, this thing is already gone. Now, it starts off and you say, this is great. This is great. How about this, doctor? I've got a friend of mine who is he's a pathologist. Oh, no, excuse me, radiologist. And he's great doing mammograms. Mammography, he knows it. He can. And I'll bet you who knows how many films he's seen or whatever it was. He knows it. Okay. This thing comes along, AGI, and says, okay. And it says, figure out how to do mammograms. You don't even have to tell it. Don't feed it anything. Just tell it. Okay, I'll do it. They asked, listen to this. They asked one initial iteration of this. What does this mean? The difference between 8, the number, and infinity. And if you ask your computer, it will merely recall what you put in, but it won't on its own reason. Christian says, gas pump tells me thank you. I say you're welcome. And by the way, this is also, there's something about anthropomorphism, and there's something about being able to, also the uncanny valley. Here's one for you before we get into this. Why do clowns freak you out? Sometimes clowns scare people. It's called coulrophobia. And there are some things, interestingly enough, that when you deal with them, they're cute at first, and then they get real creepy. Raul says, will AGI make great improvements and limiting population? It could also very much, either by application of protocol or suggestions, advocate depopulation. Absolutely. Now, how it would, well, I'll tell you one scenario coming up. Would there be pre-crime detection? Absolutely. Absolutely. There already is. Brits have been doing this for years. And what they do is it's not predicting, they take variables. For example, they'll say, in the past whatever years we've had, when it's hot, it's after midnight, whatever this happens. Let me go back before I forget my friend, the radiologist. AGI, not AI, AGI comes along and you say, okay, here we have for you or you can just say, I want you to find from, you know what? Just say, learn how to detect breast cancers. And it says, okay. Or it does it on its own. It may do it on its own because it may think that based upon its sense of logic or morality that finding a cure for cancer might be beneficial to society as a whole, and it just may do it on its own, not at your behest, not at your recommendation, but it just may say, okay, we're just going to do this. So all of a sudden it says, guess what I did? I've got a picture of, I've got every mammogram that's available in digital. I've read every textbook, every lecture, everything. I've seen every mammogram since the beginning of time, and we have learned how to do it. We'll immediately scan like that. And ladies, if you've ever had to do a mammography, if there's a way of, maybe it's very painful, there's a way of getting around that, squishing, and maybe, who knows, it'll figure that out too. But it will say, I know how to do it. Here's your answer. Boom. You don't need it. It doesn't have to be red. It knows what to look for, what to exclude. And when it sees something, if it sees a neoplasm or some kind of mammary duct problem, it goes zzz, and it magnifies it or zooms in or tells you, my friend's out of a job. But guess what? It's 100%. Lori Cuck says, yeah, Sheila Jackson died. That is sad. And unlike most people who base their sense of loss or bereavement over somebody's political ideology, I always say it's sad. People have families. Let me ask you something, Lori. Let me ask you. In Rousseau's second, whatever it was, he talks about the most important aspect that humans have is pity. Pity. Not intelligence, pity. Pity. Will AGI have pity? Will AGI be able to be a jury? What is it? What does a jury do? Would an AGI jury have found President Trump guilty of 34 counts of something I still cannot explain to you? Let me ask you something. Ladies, how many baseball fans here, all right? How many? This is the perfect example. This might say it best. How many baseball fans we have here? Okay, fine. As you know, for the longest time, they have been talking about, do we really need umpires? Do umpires do a good job? Umpires call it wrong. Umpires do this. Would you have a problem, baseball fans, if we had a device, which we've always had, that can tell a ball or strike? It can also tell lines. It can tell, we have it, let's say, on U.S. Open or tennis. There's a little sensor. We can have whatever it is. If the ball's in or out, we don't even need line judges. It does all the work for you. It can tell you the speed. It can do, you name it. Would you advocate the removal of the human umpire, of the human line judge, of the umpire, the referee? Yes or no? Can it tell what chemicals are in the food? Absolutely. Can it? What do you think? Do you believe? And this is incredible. Do you believe there should be something? It's the simplest question. Anybody? Remove human involvement in sports. No. I say no. Is it going to be inaccurate? Yes. Is it going to be subject to everything? Yes. Is it going to be? Yes. Somebody says something right now. Only the best chefs make great food. Okay, let me explain something to you, okay? That is the most important thing in the world. Listen to me very, 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 very crazy. Very, very important. Imagine going someplace where all of a sudden you have this wonderful, wonderful thing. You want to go to a restaurant and you have not been able to go to it because it's in Paris and you are not able to afford the trip. By the way, Joe Tube says, as we have had robots do production work, what's your opinion on AI doing lawyer work? Well, let me explain something very quickly. And Lori says, human error is a part of the game. No, yes. Yes, 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 you've got it. A robot does this. This is what a robot does. This is no problem. Automated. A robot's perfect. You want to have it's wonderful. Have an assembly line. It goes in and it welds this point every single time. Over and over and over and over. Never gets tired. Doesn't hurt. No workman's comp. You can walk into a factory. The factory is pitch black. It's freezing in the winter. So hot in the summer, doesn't matter. Did you ever see an Amazon, those fulfillment factories? Those are robots. That's not AI. That might be some of it, but that's it doesn't. It's a Roomba goes around, and that's a different story. Do you want there to be a human interaction, a human thing? How do I go and explain to somebody how a lawyer is going to solve or settle your case? How do I do this? Let's say, for example, Jonathan Swift, Ducey, Amy, Lizzie, Lori, one of you're involved in an accident. Clearly, defendant has liability. We got to talk about damages. Okay? Adam is a 75-year-old retiree. He likes to fish sometimes, play canasta with his wife. That's about it. Dennis is a concert pianist. Dennis he's a great, his livelihood, his money, but his talent is being able to play. His lack of mobility compared to somebody else's, how does a AGI work that into account? And does one talk to another one? Do you talk to the claims agent for progressives? And they say, okay, making an offer. What about this? I mean, you might say, look, we've looked at every claim and maybe it's fair. We've looked at every claim from every concert pianist who's ever been injured. And we think $75 million is fair versus not. Pilgrim says, my Teamster brother is now on the Trump train. You're going to be seeing more of that. You're going to be seeing more of that. There is and thank you, Pilgrim. There is a problem here. The greatest chefs in the world. Imagine you go to Gordon Ramsay or whoever it is, whoever you want. Remember the from Il Bulli or Bouilly or whatever that gastronomical, that place in Spain where they closed down. Anyway, Ferran. We have let's say you go to a restaurant and you order this, and it will make you these things based upon it went to the restaurant, and it will mimic, it will replicate every single movement, temperature, look, feel, texture, you name it, it will do it. You don't have to go there. When you go to this restaurant and you have very few people back there, I might have a dishwasher, but it's all automated. But it's not automated by a robot. It's automated by somebody who can think for you. You'll be able to go anyplace else. So what do you need to go to? You can go to a rest stop on the turnpike in Jersey, and you can have Marco Pierre White or whatever, somebody, it will change the course of this. Let's also get into the notion of autonomous drivers, which is a different story. But now we're getting into something which is different. AI, AGI. Now I've got this thing. And I'm able, and you love this thing because I've just made little bots and companions that help people left and right. Bradley says, transcribing is learning. Chips are better. Indeed, sir. YouTube says, my policy with lawyers, I don't care if he knows the law, but does he know the judge? Well, also, yes. And does he know how to negotiate? Which is, I don't know if AGI may be good, I guess. Lori says, I love natural. Really? And Pilgrim says, some of the best food I've ever had is on food trucks. Well, absolutely. A food truck is a kitchen on wheels. Why do you think natural is better? Why? This, one day, is going to replicate an infant or a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old. It will be so realistic, you cannot believe what you're seeing. You will not be able to see it. You will not be able to believe what you're seeing. It will know everything humans do, what infants do, what children do. The skin will be unreal. The hair will be unbelievable. You will be shocked. You will be shocked. And it will grow. It will, maybe you can determine it, but it'll also be able to look and read. It'll figure out what it is that when you're sad, when you're not. And then the question is going to be, what happens? And this is the $1 million question. What happens if you decide to do something with a non-human apparatus that would be against the law if it were a human? Let your mind run with that one. Then we have to ask, do we stop it? That's the thought police. Let me ask you this. Right now, in Israel and Palestine, there are a series of problems, as you know. And let's say, through some kind of a weird AGI infiltration, it says, and it recognizes on its own, using a way of thinking that may surprise you, but on its own, it comes up with what is and what is not acceptable. Laurie says, little girls dance and play natural. Yes. Well, this will too. Is that natural? I don't know. Again, you're going to have to redefine and you're going to have to ask this question: what's so special about human anyway? But let's assume right now in Israel, on its own, a system says, I think Israel is 100% correct. For 75 years, since the Balfour Declaration, Israel has been denied a homeland. Let's say this system is Zionist, what you might call Zionist. It views Hamas and Palestine and West Bank as existential threats. And on its own, sua sponte, shuts down all of the weapon systems, all of the defensive systems, all of the abilities that non-Israeli entities have in repelling what you might consider to be a Israeli aggression. What happens then? Tom says humanoid bot police officers controlled by AGI. Absolutely. What movie was that about? RoboCop. 3 individuals in my life that changed my life. My heroes. Not heroes, but people. Barney Fife, Howard Beale, and Ted Baxter. By the by, there's a documentary I recommend you. It's on Faye Dunaway. Faye, interesting. Very interesting. But Network was one of the most important movies ever. Patty Chayefsky, who was a genius, who was an absolute genius. How anybody could ever write like that, I don't know. Maybe I'm sure it could. In any event. So Barney Fife, Howard Beale, and Ted Baxter. 3 mythical, magical people who were so important and were so pythonic and Vatic and presaged where we are today. It's not even funny. Barney Fife was the human embodiment of RoboCop in a sense. He was this psycho ready to go nuts. And Andy was just keeping him back, holding him back, gave him a bullet. Remember the bullet, the one bullet, keeping him back. Barney Fife had such a rage. And at the time, it was so monumentally just outrageous to have a character being depicted that was a fool or a rube. The policeman? No way. Second of all, Howard Beale. Howard Beale was so, again, Vatic, pythonic, presage. It read the entrails of the beast. It augured the future. It was incredible. It said, where are we going for ratings and the like, and how everybody in TV wanted to be Howard Beale but couldn't, in terms of being able to say, I'm mad as hell, and being able to captivate and to attract huge swaths of humanity for a particular cause. And finally, Ted Baxter. Ted Baxter was so important. Ted Baxter, before Ron Burgundy, before everybody else, Ted Baxter was at the height of Walter Cronkite's career. Ted Baxter was absolutely, positively, 100% the most critical. He saw everything, portended everything. The Ron Burgundys, the oafs, the Jadruls, is important. And one of those things you have to realize, to be able to be a visionary, is to kind of look at things and not ask, do I want this to happen? Do I want this to happen? Well, I don't know if I want this to happen, but you have to be able to say, this is where it's going. And let me tell you something right now. Had we, in the hour and 27 minutes that we've been talking so far, had we had any of this subject matter brought up at the RNC, they would have been asked to leave. All right, dear friends. Incredible. Bradley Opland says, what's your favorite love song? Mine, Adam and Eve. Got to think about that one. What's yours? Oh, John Prine. What's it called? For whatever, birth. She cuts like a sailor when she's shaving her leg. Puts ketchup on her scrambled egg. What's the name of that? Oh God, John Prine. Whatever it takes, John Prine. What is the name of it? Oh God, hang on a minute, John Prine. It's with on the rainbow. Let's see. I've been talking to 100. Let me ask you, AGI. What's the name? In spite of ourselves. Thank you. Please. Here I am looking it up. I can ask you this. I don't even know that. I can't. We used to play that every Saturday morning. Remember that? Ding, 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 ding. He makes his beer like oxygen. Or any event. John Prine. Oh my God. Oh, I love that. He's finally hit his peak, and that is so unfair. So absolutely unfair. What's funny? I wonder, Brad, how many young people, I feel sorry for young people. I don't think they're enjoying half of the stuff that we even knew or understood. So Bradley Opland, thank you. Tom Malloy, thank you so very, very much. Lori Cuck, you're a very, very dangerous person, provided you use your talents correctly. The world will be a better place. If you ever go to the dark side, we're all doomed. YouTube, thank you so much. Pilgrim, thank you as well. Let me see who else we have here. You very, very kind people. Oh, yes. Raul Rodriguez hits us with, the man can talk about closing Irish bars too. That's very sad, Nearies. That is the end of he had to wear a tie, and what was that? He had to wear a tie or a jacket or something. He was old school. Christian Janice, thank you so much. Buddha TT Bay, thank you. Clone as Steve Dream Killer, thank you, Doctor. Appreciate that. Who else we have here? Mr. Oh, Edie Crowley, our dear friend, the artistic genius in her own right, Edie Crowley. Let me see. John Jelaine, thank you. And let me see. I'm going to do this. Oh, Mr. Chuck Landreth, ladies and gentlemen. John Jelaine. CR, thank you so much. And Billy Pierce. Oh, Billy. Known Billy for a long time. The word demented oftentimes is used as to explicate, but nonetheless, a great and a fine man. Finally, Tom Malloy says, the movie Chappie was fascinating watch. So much. There was that movie, whatever his name was, that actor he had the doll. Remember the actor in Barbie? By the way, Barbie was a damn good movie. Ryan, not Seacrest, Ryan Gosling, or anyway, that was so ahead of its time. Minority Report, absolutely. Matrix, just go down the list. In any event, dear friends, have a great and a glorious and a wonderful. Oh, yes, honey, I'm not even done yet. October the 26th at the Cutting Room. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to see you there. Let's have a party 10 days before the election. 10 days before the election. My God. Just imagine that. Imagine what that will be. I put up a permanent link. And also, dear friends, you must follow Mrs. L on her, hang on a minute. You must follow Mrs. L on her YouTube channel. The amount of people who steal her stuff is so disgusting. I'm saying this. It's just, you have no idea. She works this subject to the point, and believe me, it is debilitating what it can do to you. Here is her link. Follow Lynn's Warriors, Lynn apostrophe S, not LYNNE. Sometimes they'll do that. I don't know why. It's like Laura, trying to keep kids safe. Very simple. Lynn's Warriors. One more time, just click that link, and you go straight to her channel. Same thing, Lynn's Warriors on Twitter. I call it Twitter, or X. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so much for your genius. Thank you so much for your paying attention. We spent an hour and 32 minutes today on something which I think is incredible. Theoretically, never once talking about Donald Trump, which it happens sometimes. Have a great day. See you at 7. Don't forget, make sure you subscribe, Lionel Nation. And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.